Foundations came out recently, a sort of core set that introduces new players to the game and what the colors do, and I feel like it's a great set for that purpose. I didn't see most of the spoilers until recently since I was working on the Strafe On video, my Let's Play channel, and the upcoming Sephiroth video, so I took the time to look over them the other day and decided it'd be fun if I talked about some of my favorite cards in this set, including Jumpstart stuff. These aren't in any particular order, and there's no real theme to it, it's just 10 cards that I like and wanted to talk about. Also note that I am super EDH brained, so these are all within the context of Commander specifically, so don't come after me if some of these cards suck in Standard or ruin Modern or whatever. With that being said, here's my 10 favorite cards from Foundations, in no particular order. Figured I'd start with some honorable mentions of cards I like, but not enough to be on the list proper since I wanted to keep it to 10 cards to have more of a structure. The new Niv Mizzet being an infinite combo with himself is one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen in my life. I adore the basic full arts of this set. They're all so nice looking and colorful. Helpful Hunter is an adorable little friend. And speaking of little friends, Nine Lives Cat is a nice recursion piece in Aristocats and is also a good boy. I did not mean to make the Aristocats pun, but I'm keeping that in the video. Near Div, Devious Diver is a card that was kind of made for me. I love self-mill and graveyard filling decks, I love draw power and consistency, and I love graveyard effects in general. I kinda wish it also triggered when something from your grave was revived, but I get why it doesn't, it'd probably be too strong. I also think the art's really nice. I love the colorful anime-esque art they did for a lot of the cards in this set to try to differentiate it from normal Magic and try out different styles. I also love that it can mill anyone in a pinch if you want to go the route of milling your opponents out, or you can mill an opponent that uses graveyard stuff for political reasons. I think it's a great card that I'm going to run in a few decks. Normally, I wouldn't like Abyssal Harvester. I don't like exiling my own stuff since I love recursion and revival so much, and I don't like the idea of a card being inaccessible and unable to be recurred. But since it can hit your opponent's graveyards too, it can be really helpful for me. It deters your opponent from blocking with their better creatures, since you could just exile it from their graveyard and copy it, and it would also be amazing if you use a lot of removal. It's also pretty cheap mana-wise for the kind of effect that it is. I really enjoyed this card. If she wasn't $40+, I would build Ophelia Viper Whisper in a heartbeat. I like snakes as a typal theme, I love her art, and it being Gorgon typal and making a snake token means you can take it in different directions. You can ignore the snake typal aspect and just make her a token spam deck that only really uses her tokens for snakes. You can run her as snake typal, you can run her as Gorgon typal, you can run her as a mix of snake and Gorgon typal, you can run it as a life loss deck since she has life. It's not just the kind of build itself typal deck, which is actually very hard to do on a commander that's supposed to be a typal synergy. So I really like her. I hope she gets cheap one day so I can build her. Look, I know Zool Asher's a boring zombie typal piece to 99% of you, but I really like zombies, okay? So any support from my little DK'd friends is gonna make me happy. The ward cost is nice, and it can be a nice engine to revive stuff every turn. It's not as good as some others in a similar category, but the more the merrier for this kind of deck. I kinda wish it was blue, so it can be a cool Demir zombie commander, but I get that this is not a commander set. Making it monocolor limits you, which can open doors to more creative deck building, and monocolored commanders usually aren't that common in terms of being used, so I can understand liking it for being a mono black commander. Look, it's pretty. I love this art. It's so colorful and nicely done. In terms of the card itself, I'm biased to liking lifelink since it's my favorite evergreen mechanic. I always like effects that combine multiple creature types to add variety to typal commander decks, and I always find copying spells really fun. There's not a ton to say, I just really like it, and I think she's a really pretty card. While I wish Alacia was still Mardu so she can be an alternate commander to her other card, it's still a card I love. I love Graveyard Synergy, I love the toolboxy nature of its abilities as a commander, I feel she works well with her other card, which is usually a nice touch for me, and it's always nice seeing more LGBT representation on cards. I really like her, and I would build her if my partner wasn't interested in making an Alacia deck of their own, and it would be too similar. What do you know? Jira puts another graveyard synergy on the list. What a shock. I kinda wrote this off in the upcoming Sephiroth of the Hidden Ways EDH guide, but I do like it. Rummaging's always nice, and while it becoming a 3/3 Death Toucher when your grave is full isn't the best boost, it's still good enough and just a nice little cherry on top most of the time. It's not gonna replace Baleful Strix in most of the decks that I run that in, but I think it's good enough as a bonus piece. I also really like the artwork. Magic's the only card game I've ever played that has actually made life gain decks actually good, so it's always nice to see an okay payoff for the theme again, while also combining it with Revival. I kinda wish it was mono black so I can run it in my Willow Dusk food deck, but it's still a card I do enjoy and want to find room for in Sephiroth when I can. I just don't have an Orzhov deck with life gain synergies. I suppose it can work in any deck that increases its power enough, though. Good card. Also, like with most of the others, love the art. I always like decks that combine things that don't go super together to try to get you to do a mix. Blink decks do run a lot of instants and sorceries to blink, but usually focus on repeatable blinks on creatures like Brago or Flicker Wisp or so on. So it's cool to see a commander for blink that encourages you to make it a bit more spell slingery instead of repeatable ones on artifacts or creatures. Look at this dork. Look at this fucking cute little fucko. Look at this scrungly little doofus. Look at this silly fucking little boy. Look at this big friend. Look at them. Look at them. How could I not put this fucko on the list? How could I not love this boy? Come on. Foundations is a great set for new players and returning ones. It encapsulates what each of the colors do in Magic, while keeping them simple enough so that players can understand, but also introducing some cool commanders as well as some cool core cards for other formats while trying something different with the art style. And they did it all in such a small set. In a time where some people fear Magic is turning away from its original vibes, Foundation shows us that Magic's core identity is still there and always will be at the core of the game, even if we go to space, or ride with cowboys, or do a death race with cars. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As usual, I have a Blue Sky and a Let's Play channel, both linked in the description. I just wanted to put out a short video in between the Strafon and the Sephiroth video. So I figured this would be a fun way to do it that wouldn't take a million years to make. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you guys want me to do this for future sets, I'm up for it, so tell me if you guys liked it. See you guys next time in the Sephiroth video.